I were a betting man, I'd say that he probably logs 6 to 8 hours a day playing one of those, Fortnite or one of those video games where you're doing nothing but dehumanizing people by blowing their heads off, one after another after another.
George, should we be surprised in this nation? We have devalued life, whether it's through abortion, whether it's the breakup of families, through violent movies, and particularly violent video games, which now outsell movies and music.
Of shooting individuals and others. I've always felt that is a problem for future generations and others. We've watched from studies shown before of what it does to individuals. When you look at these photos of how it took place, you can see the actions within video games and others. But
second, we must stop the glorification of violence in our society. This includes the gruesome and grisly video games that are now commonplace. It is too easy today for troubled youth to surround themselves with a culture that celebrates violence. We must stop or substantially reduce this, and it has to begin immediately.
Hello there, lovely viewers. What is up? Flex and Feature here with another video. Before you guys probably click away or point out the obvious, yes, I'm aware video games don't cause mass shootings. That much is obvious. But idiot politicians from America for over a decade now have been saying it does, including our favorite orange man, Donald Trump. Just to make it clear, I'm not a Trump hater, nor do I support the guy. But it's quite obvious that what he says isn't true. And while I'm not American, nor do I want to get into their politics, I still want to talk about this because it concerns one of the abilities I love, that is video games. Just in case anyone who thinks video games cause violence is watching this, I've compiled a list of questions that one should ask on that topic. It will be answered accordingly with facts and my personal opinion, of course. So to anyone who is listening to this guy with a weird accent, let's just get right into it. Number 1, does video game cause someone or some people to be violent? To answer the first question, I think we already know the answer to it, but let's just check what experts have to say about it. When brought up, experts admit that there's no link to it. James Ivory, a research professor at Virginia Tech, even further stated that when it comes to actual serious violent crime, there's virtually no evidence that video games matter. But it does add that it causes some abstract of aggression, which brings us to our second question. If it does, then what type of violence does video games cause? Since we've established that it doesn't cause violence, let's check out what kind of aggression it causes. A 2015 report by the American Psychological Association stated that video games cause an increase in aggression. However, it also mentioned that the report didn't have sufficient evidence. Experts have even argued that it has no backing by modern research. So what does modern research say? Well, according to research done by Andrew, forgive me for mispronouncing this, Ryzybyliski, he found there was no link between violent video games and teenagers. And if you're wondering how he came to this conclusion, there was actually 2,800 subjects comprised of British teenagers at the age of 14 and 15 years old, and an equal number of parents. They used the information from these parents to understand the level of aggression in their children. Another cool thing about this research is the fact that it was classified using the European and American gaming rating systems, rather than just seeing it from the teen's point of view. That's not to say that there wasn't any sign of aggression. As he puts it, such talking and other behavior warrant further study. Now, that's not to say it's something to be concerned, it just means that it needs to be studied. Number 3, does video games make you want to harm others? Well, the simple answer to that is no. What I'm about to say could have been answered in the second question, but I thought I should leave it to this question since it flows with what I have to say further. According to researchers at Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, they found that video games may cause aggression, but the effects are almost always quite small. In fact, the same researcher with the name that I probably butchered recently added that aggression won't cause you to go about doing mass shootings. Ironically, playing video games has been found in a 2016 study to reduce general societal violence. Or to some of what Christopher Ferguson said in an interview with CNN, it keeps the male teenagers busy and they'll be off the streets to just cause trouble. You don't believe me? Well, how about Director of Interpersonal Research Laboratory, who is also a professor of psychology at Villanova University, stated that when people play video games, there is not a rise in violent crimes afterwards. And now we get to the last question. Was video games the prime or side reason for the past shooters? Now, what I mean by this, I also refer to the research was. Anyway, we know the answer to that, but again, let's see what experts said. That director I just mentioned found that only 20% of school shooters have been reported to play violent video games. He also added that school shooters have less interest in violent video games since it's popular among teens. These shooters tend not to do what their peers are interested in. We should also look at the chart, which shows that countries like China, Japan, and South Korea have a higher boost in video game sales than America. And guess what? None of them have the same problem as the United States. So you might be asking, what causes a school shooter to be what he is then? And why is video games still blamed if there's facts about it that show that school shootings have nothing to do with it? James Ivory, the same researcher I mentioned earlier, pointed out that things such as poverty, substance abuse, and child abuse are the predictors of violent crimes. As for the second question, it can be summarized to just 4 words. People are just dumb. But just for the heck of it, let's just go with how he just put it. He basically said that they don't want to talk about other things that are likely more relevant. In my opinion, I actually agree, since even with the sufficient evidence, there are American politicians that are either too ignorant or stupid to stop playing video games and actually deal with the problem the country is facing. Whether that has to do with more gun control is still up for debate and really honestly doesn't concern me. I just think these people should stop playing video games because it's quite embarrassing to the United States to see old geezers going about blaming something that isn't even the problem. I don't know about you, but I've never talked about shooting any human being, despite how many times I've gone down NPCs in Grand Theft Auto or zombies in Resident Evil. Teenagers and adults alike are smart enough to know the difference between this and this.
Hey, you! Really?
So, unless that person is mentally insane or something similar, no one should go about blaming video games for violent crimes. And that's where we end this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, please click that like button and share the video. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be updated on the next video. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. We are on Patreon and Twitter, and the links to them are in the description below. Thank you for watching. This is Max from Facts and Fiction, and I'm signing off.